Welcome to the Night Temple, a weekly podcast about art, memory, and inspiration.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Night Temple. We're your hosts, Carisa
And Andrew. And we're here with Cecilia Enriquez.
of Sisters of Black Mountain and
Seahorse and
Saint Cecilia, incredible songwriter, incredible musician. I mean, you are really an amazing songwriter. I am a huge fan of your songwriting, and
Me too.
just like really complex, intricate, beautiful, lots of variations on songs, like, there's a lot of modulation to like other keys, a lot of harmonies, a lot of tempo changes, and a lot of genre.
And a lot of hooks.
A lot of hooks
Yeah.
and a lot of genres. You're really, what's the word? Like diverse, but it always sounds like you. And it's like really, really incredible, incredible style that I can hear you in all of the different projects from Saint Cecilia to Seahorse to Sisters of Black Mountain. But there's so much diversity in the range of the styles. Like some of it sounds, you know what it actually kind of reminds me of? Every point in musical history where women have like done something outstanding.
No.
Like,
I'm gonna cry.
well, like sometimes it's like there's this feeling of like the girl bands of the 60s, and that whole style of
I love that.
of seeing that there's that, and then there's this almost like sense of like there'll be like a Riot Girl kind of vibe, but mixed in with like I don't know, it's never straight down the line Riot Girl, but I feel that feeling of like the 90s, I guess, is what I'm thinking, and some of the stuff reminds me of the Pixies, and
You're naming my influences.
it's just this like diverse range, but it always feels like this prominent feminine female kind of energy in there of women leaders in music of the past, and I hate talking about music in a gendered way, but it's just like there's such a femininity and a strength in that energy with your work. Big fan.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. You hit a lot of my influences. There's a lot, the 60s, literally, like, I love all the harmonies and things like that. And
so how did you get into writing music? Did you always know it was music? Did it evolve from something else first? Like,
I think, how far back should I go?
Childhood.
Go to the
Okay.
beginning. Go right to the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I was little, I grew up my mom is an artist, but like she paints and stuff, and but she always played music. She played the piano. I remember when I was little, like really little, she said that I would like crawl around under the piano and like listen, like I don't know, while she was
Wow.
playing.
Yeah.
But I guess I kind of knew, I knew I wanted to sing when I was younger, but obviously I didn't know I was going to like be writing or anything like that. When she realized that because my mom was, like Mexican moms do, they watch novellas.
Yeah.
And so I would go on the piano, and sometimes like she'd be like, that sounds like the novella I was just like, I was just listening to like 3 or 4, and I'm like picking out little melodies.
This is when you were 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
Wow.
I mean,
cool.
Now it seems like I should be like really good at piano. I'm not. That's just how I started. But, like, just playing by ear.
Songwrite. Yeah, playing by ear.
She tells the story that we went to Mexico, and I was the only little kid in like the night restaurant, like this like nightclub restaurant thing, and then some man like played a song dedicated to the only little girl. I was like a little kid at 4, I think, and she said that I remembered the song, and I started playing it with like 2 hands.
Wow.
I think I was like,
that's cool.
pajaritos a volar. It's like little birds flying. I don't know. But anyway.
That's cool.
So it kind of, I mean, I knew that I loved music and I was always singing and stuff. But I didn't start songwriting. I mean, I would write little things on the piano. I guess I can't. I think it was when I finally got like a 4-track. I had already played like keyboards in a band.
Yeah.
And like as soon as I started to be able to layer things, I was like, oh, I could write, like, you know, and then like sing with myself and like harmonies and like right away. At first it was like keyboard stuff.
Yeah.
And then I learned, I kind of taught myself guitar, everything by ear. Like I can't say that like I play any of it well still because I never took lessons. It's just everything's by ear. So I kind of feel it's an imposter syndrome that I have.
But your playing is really good. I mean, just you're even on the recordings and live as well. Your playing is pretty phenomenal. I don't think you need to. I'm
trying to like get used to like feeling okay with compliments because I grew up Catholic and you know how it is. I'm not Catholic anymore, but I went to Catholic school and like it's just hard to like
yeah totally.
So I mean, what else? Am I answering your question? But I got into songwriting later, like almost in my 20s.
Wow. So you had your first band where you were a keyboardist. How old were you then?
I think I was 19 or 20. I'm not sure. I was playing keys in a band that my friends, it's a band called XO, and they just needed a keyboard player, and I would just play their songs. And then I played with another friend of mine, Frank. He played drums, and I would kind of play his melodies and the things he would come up with. But then I started kind of writing, and then I got that machine. I got a 4-track, and then I got an 8-track, and it just like it made me like start structuring my own songs and stuff like that. So
does that mean that you like got into producing as well, or is that something that kind of changed over time? Producing
like no, it was just doing like home demos and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's what you mean.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that is kind of a form of production.
Okay.
Yeah, as well. Like, it's just, you're using your ear, you're making it sound right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just curious because you guys have,
I'm at the beginning. So, like, finally by the time I started, like, my own, like, okay, so, like, Seahorse was when I first started doing my own songs.
Yeah.
And, like, formed a band around the songs.
Yeah.
And every kind of project after that, except for Light as a Feather, I forgot, is that.
Yeah.
So Sisters, St. Cecilia, and, Seahorse, Sisters, and St. Cecilia is basically the same process.
Yeah.
I kind of like, I'll write songs on, like, now I do GarageBand. So I'll just do, like, vocals.
And do you record it all, though? Like, is that the final, like, work that people are getting?
So sometimes, like, things change. Like, we'll be like, repeat this verse or repeat this chorus or put the bridge in here. But, like, even now, like, so I'll have, like, usually all of that, it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
It's hard because, like, I can jam with people, but it's harder for me to, like, just do the one thing because I feel like the ideas all come like a song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
And the vocal harmonies and all the different parts.
Everything's
and, like,
kind of already in my head, and it's hard to explain. But I don't want to like step on anyone's shoes, so I started projects where I could just provide the songs. Kind of. I know that sounds kind of like. I don't know.
No, that's...
Yeah, and it makes sense. And I think you can hear that because there's like...
you can hear that. That's what we do too. And it's like, I think, a lot of people
But your songs are so structured. Like the structure of the songs just feels like really integral to what they are. They're like really...
your style just comes through no matter what band it is and no matter... Yeah. It's
like I love vocal harmonies.
Yeah.
I always think in that.
Amazing...
Like, whether it's like, whatever style of music it is, or like dark or light, it's still like the vocal harmonies, the back and forth singing. I just can't, I can't not do that. So I guess it.
Yeah. I mean, I was curious, like, so with the songwriting process, you're recording things and laying things out, and then you're bringing it to the bands and... So I'll do a demo with guitar, vocals, and some keyboard ideas. I used to at the very beginning. I used to do a little bass too, but I don't want to step on anyone's toes when I'm in a band with someone. Every single time I feel like
because like being in a solo project feels lonely or something. You
Yeah,
know? So
yeah.
I've always wanted to have a band.
Yeah.
Also don't want to step on people's toes. And now in like the later projects, I'm doing less and less keyboard, but I still have to have some melodies because they harmonize with the vocals sometimes.
Yeah.
Or there's an idea, like with this last one with the, I don't know if I'm saying it wrong, Jello,
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So with that kind of like thing, there were lots of like little influences that I wanted on keyboard.
Yeah.
And some of them came through, some of them didn't.
Yeah.
Because you gotta let the people like, you know,
Yeah.
do their thing too. So, but it's really nice collaborating like in the end because people have ideas that you may not have and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
usually it's like a demo and then like.
Yeah. I guess just because I'm a producer, I'm always interested in people's production process as well. So that's something that always like interests me, especially I feel like as a female, you know, producer, just hearing you say that you got the 4-track and the 8, like that was pretty much how I started as well. So I was like curious to see if that's still your process now, as, you know, of just writing through these means.
Yeah, that's still my process. But on GarageBand, I would do Logic if I learned it. I would do other things if I learned it. It's like,
GarageBand's got a lot of flexibility and it's really, it's almost the same as Logic. It's pretty close to, you know, Logic.
I haven't tried those,
Yeah, Logic is like just a more complex version of it. So, yeah.
I'm kind of like, I don't want to say I'm like impatient. Well, I have ADHD, so I'm not gonna like hide that. But everything I do is kind of like to get the song out. It's not like I'm like a super talented, amazing like piano player. I can't do like the complicated things.
You're a composer.
Composer,
Yeah.
And then like guitar, like rhythm always. I can do a little leads, but I try not to do that because I want to focus on like also singing. So it's like, unless I'm playing the same thing or harmonizing like a lead with the vocal, then I can kind of do that. But so I'm not like amazing at any of those instruments, but I can kind of do a little bit of everything.
Cool.
But I mean, I think that's the thing with you. It's just, you're such a good composer. And I think for anyone that, you know, understands composition, you can see that straight away. You can notice that right away, that these compositions are really complex and are really impressive and really complex. And it's like, so, you know, on that note, I guess, like, what influences, because you can hear
and where did you grow up? So where were you?
That's so
I grew up in Pasadena.
Okay.
I was born in Glendale, but I grew up in Pasadena, LA. So I grew up in Pasadena.
Cool. Yeah. What were your early influences?
Early influences.
We know telenovelas.
That was
very early.
That was just me when I was little. But once I really got into like being in a band and playing Radiohead, I was obsessed with Radiohead. Like OK Computer, all that stuff.
Good. Yeah.
So good. Like I think that really like opened up my like, I don't know. It was like, there's still like harmony in that music and there's like good melody and like it was just so good. I was obsessed. David Bowie, I like a lot of music, like glam rock to like 60s, like the Kinks, the Beatles, Simon and Garfunkel, but also like, you know, newer bands who also do harmonies and things like that, like Belle and Sebastian and like, you know, I love Metric, Blonde Redhead, like all kinds of different influences. Not saying everything, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And like movie soundtracks. Like, oh my God. That is, so it's not like I sit there listening to movie soundtracks all the time, but like when I watch a movie, like it stays in my head and I'm like, that feeling, that vibe, you know, like that, like it inspires you. You can kind of feel it.
Yeah.
I'm like about to talk about chakras. You can kind of feel it in your, you know, your sacral. But so a lot of different things influence me, you know.
It's cool. The film score thing is cool because it's like, I can hear that. You know, the Giallo thing. Like, I think there's even like a bit of, is it like kind of like what's that instrument called? Like the mellotron.
Mellotron.
Like mellotron and stuff like that. You know, in like not just in Sisters, which you know are really thematically like the horror film kind of thing, but you know also in like Saint Cecilia as well.
Yeah, I actually I'm gonna butcher his name. Ennio Morricone.
Oh, yeah,
Ennio?
that's right.
Ennio?
Yeah, Ennio,
Okay.
yeah.
I love all of that stuff. But yeah, Mellotron was like something I got a little bit obsessed with. I don't really have a Mellotron, just
Just the samples.
the samples.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that sound, yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Vocally too, I can, just you saying Ennio Morricone, like you use like interesting vocals, like the rhythmic vocals and stuff, and
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking as well, like, Ennio Morricone is, like, almost like the pop artist of music, too. Like, he has, like, melodic leads, there's you can sing,
Oh, yeah, right, that too, yeah.
Like,
He did the music for Bird with the Crystal Plumage, the Argento film.
I
Yeah.
have not
It
seen
has
that
like
one,
those.
yeah.
Oh, check it out.
Okay.
The beginning. It's almost like a '60s song. It's like female vocals. It's like. It's all like this is where I get all my la la things. I'm like, I'm not copying it, but like that
Yeah,
inspiration.
yeah.
And then there's like male vocals also harmonizing. It kind of feels like it's eerie, but it's really beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think Goblin do that too. Like, there's a lot
Goblin,
of Jello.
Claudio Simonetti.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. I mean, and that just, like, takes us to Sisters of Black Mountain, right? We can't, deny, like, how much, even, like, your video clips are, like, short horror films, like, how much, like, that horror genre plays into that band. Is that, like, okay, how did the inspiration for that happen?
So in the pandemic, I was bummed because like I felt like everything was it wasn't because of the pandemic, but everything was kind of melting away with the St. Cecilia members come and go and stuff, and like I was just kind of heartbroken, and my friend was like, let's start a side project, and I was like, okay, and we were gonna start a side project, but I couldn't really get into the jamming thing. Like again, it's just like it's hard to explain it. It's really hard for me to like just jam. I don't like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
So what happened was like I started digging into like this like kind of a darker feeling, and I was like, why not let this like it's like I was angry. I think I was angry, and I was getting some stuff out, and I was just like making up stories kind of, and like weaving into like the occult and stuff like that, and that's how it kind of came. And I started when I wrote Crystal Raven. I think that was the first one. It kind of came with a video in my head. It came with a music video. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it came with a music video, and it was mostly like I would see the shots. Let me see, like. I don't know. I could just see it. You know?
Yeah.
And just kind of like the vibe and the what we would wear, and I don't know if I don't know where it comes from, but it came together. And so when I finally got a chance to record a music video, I kind of had the thing laid out in my head. I worked with my friend to do the art, or not the art, but the storyboards, and like the shots were kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that music video is amazing, right? And it plays like a horror film, like, as well. Like it's a perfect film.
I love it. Thank you. I love the like I said, I don't want to keep saying Dario Argento, but I love that like that style.
Yeah.
And like, Mario Bava and all that. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, the whole band has that kind of vibe to it. And it really has that, still that, like, 60s, harmonies and vocals in there as well. So it's like, it does feel like there's some nostalgia in it. And then there's this glam rock thing that comes in on some of the songs. And so then it has that element too. And I feel like there's, as much as there's like this cohesive sound, a lot of bands today have albums where every song sounds the same, and I feel like with Sisters of Black Mountain, every song sounds different, even though there's an overriding theme. The artistry of what's going on is so much more complex than just some straightforward musical theme thing. It's like there's this overarching theme, but it's intricate and it's detailed, and there's different genres, different angles, different perspectives, different feelings that come through. And I'm just I'm curious as to, did this so it started with that song. Did you know you were making like the concept of the whole band being like this?
Oh yes. Okay, so that's what happened. So that song came first, and I wanted to have a reason to make horror videos. Basically, I wanted to have those, because so I had these ideas back with Saint Cecilia, but I felt like I couldn't turn that into. Or I know people do themed album, they change a theme. It took me forever to figure out if I wanted to keep going under that name, or if I wanted to do something completely fresh where people weren't expecting and also I feel divided. I feel because I have to I feel okay, so because of the whole growing up Catholic and the way I have to present to family, and then I don't know, this sounds so crazy, but I feel there's this me and then there's this me, and I kind of just needed to split it off into that for a little while.
That's
I mean,
cool.
that one still exists, the other one, but kind of just felt like creating a whole little world, and I'm still in that little world.
Does that feel like it's because on one side you have to seem happy, and is that one side happy and likable and good, and then the other side is just dark and naughty, and so it's your shadow is literally contained in one
in the project, in the one project.
I mean, that's why I couldn't do I couldn't really do it in Saint Cecilia. I was kind of I started to touch on it in some songs, and I think you might be able to hear it if what is it called? I can't remember my own song. Yay! Inward Out. I think that's where I started to kind of go with that darker vibe.
I like the way there's the tone, the way you said it comes from a darker place, because it's you come from a darker place, but with this in a really interesting way, because it's the melodies are so catchy, and the harmonies are so beautiful. And
it's still so pretty.
And so it's really appealing, and it just it has a point of view that I think is really interesting. And in the video, sometimes you have the most beautiful harmonies, and as though the band's the villain often in the videos and stuff like that, and you kind of occupy this kind of perspective, and I don't know, I just think that's really interesting. The darkest perspective is can be major, major keys and catchy melodies and stuff. And
I had somebody say, some piano player that was I think we were doing the Tomorrow Show with Ron Lynch. Anyway, he was just are your chords just random? Are you just playing random chords? Because he was just how do you, because I think songs Spirit Board, they just go from one. I'm not thinking about it, it's just
that's the genius thing. You can go to college to learn how to do that, but you do it instinctively.
I might be doing something wrong too.
No, there's no such thing as wrong.
Yeah, there's no such thing.
But that's complex. The keyboard player doesn't understand how complex.
I'm sure he understands, but he's probably I don't know. Sometimes I'm am I doing this weird thing that you're not supposed to do, but it makes sense to me in my ears,
because your ears, because some people go by sight and analytics, and some people go by ear, and I was wondering whether you went by ear or sight, because you're so good at
I don't know
creating...
how to read the music at all, or
and
anything
it's
about theory.
awesome. It's I was listening, and I was there's definitely how are you making this progression work, because I feel I would study this at school, how to make this progression work.
Yeah, there's a thing, I can't remember which song it is, but there's it's a sequence or something that's a circular sequence, that they do in Baroque music that you kind of do.
I see that.
Yeah.
See, that was Right. So I noticed a different one that was like, yeah, I don't know. It was like, wow, the modulations to different keys are insane. Like, always learning, I'm always like, you know, that modulation, like, remember to modulate, because otherwise I'll get in like a headspace where I'm like playing the same key over and over, and I like kind of really enjoy, you know, that kind of meditative process. But I'll be like, just go to a different key, go to a different thing. And then, but your songs are like, wow, you're just like naturally doing that all the time, and it's so cool. It's like major, minor, major, minor, and then like, you know. Yeah, it's really cool. Like, it's all, like, I can tell just by listening to it that it must be in your head as well, because there is this familiarity I can hear to the sound. I'm like, wow, this is coming from somewhere else as well. Anyway, it's very cool. It's very interesting. But yeah, I was curious to know whether it was all in the ear or...
It's all in the ear. I don't know any music theory, or even
cool.
like, even when I was little, like, my mom tried to put me in piano, and maybe because of the ADHD, I didn't have the like patience to like learn, but I would play by ear. So the teacher thought like I would just have her play it first, and then I would just play it back.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. It's just by ear.
Yeah. And that it's very, you know, it's very hard. Like, you can learn theory, but you can't learn how to have an ear. So that's like, you know, that natural instinct is really nice.
Yeah.
So, okay, as far as like your process goes, I feel like you've already kind of touched on some of the process here, where you know, write things down in that way. But do you work with music first? Is it all in the ear first, or is it lyrics?
It's different. It's different. Usually music comes first, and then lyrics come next. But it's not always like that. Usually I feel like there'll be something in my head, and I'm like singing it in my head, and I'm trying to like, so if I'm at work or something, and I'll just like get home quickly and like get on the guitar and figure out what I'm singing and where it's on the guitar, you know, then I'll like record that, and like, or I'll have a melody and I'll sing it, or I'll have words with a melody. I don't question the words. That's the thing. Sometimes I'm like, what if my songs don't make sense? Because like some of it is stream of consciousness.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
And some of it is like, oh yeah, I sat down and wrote these words, but usually it's stream of consciousness, and I don't really question it.
Yeah, that's great.
There's sometimes where I can make myself write a song. Like with Light as a Feather, I can make myself write a song about this, or, you know. But it's never something I think about too much. It's always just a feeling, and it's like drawing me to do it, you know. And
does that mean that the theme comes later too? Like, you know, like, is there like, you know, because you were mentioning like the Crystal Raven, where the music video came at once. Like, does the theme often come with the music, or is it just the music for you?
The theme of that song?
Like the themes in general, because, you know, Sisters is just such a...
The dark theme was planned after I started writing those. Like, I started planning that. Okay,
so it's planned later.
It's planned.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't really know what sonically I might know what the song's gonna sound like.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so I have an example. I started writing this song called When the Morning Comes. It's like the love letter to Lucifer, whatever. Sorry, I don't know what that's but like the words kind of came in rhythm. So it's like, I knew it was going to be like da 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 da. I knew how it was going to come, right? Like the rhythm. And I knew like the words just kind of came with the rhythm. I don't know how to explain that one. That one was different.
Yeah.
And then after that, like, I think like a verse or I don't remember what it was. A couple of verses came, and then the melody started to come, and like I didn't know what was going to happen. And then like one morning I was like, this is a song to Lucifer. You know? And it kind of revealed itself to me.
Yeah.
But I had those vibes. I knew it was like saying, you know, like something dark and like, it was it came in a different way.
So it's like, so there's a lot of like abstract kind of, by abstract, I just mean like the sound, the feeling, like things that you can't put a name to. And that's where the stuff comes from. And then all the form, you know, like the decision, like the planning on what it is and the themes and stuff come after that. So that, I mean, that's why the songs are so good, because they feel so authentic. It's not like you're making a plan to do something. It's like the music feels so authentic because it is authentic, and then the creation around that is like even more like bringing that into form, which is cool.
Yeah, it kind of just like, it sort of reveals itself to me.
Yeah.
And I do plan some things, and I do rewrite like lyrics or make them better sometimes. And, you know, there's a new song that I'm working on that I haven't really I haven't recorded yet.
Yeah.
I've recorded a demo, but I know that I'm missing a bridge, and I'm like trying to figure that all out. But I feel like I have intro, like every single time I'm writing now, it's like there's an intro, and then there's the song, and then there's an outro, like a different, like it matches like I'm trying not to get too stuck into that, but that's how it's been coming to.
Yeah.
So it's like a weird like operatic thing at the beginning, and then there's like a punk song. I feel like it's punk. I don't know what I'm writing, is just the rhythm and stuff, or oingo boingo kind of. I don't know, but it feels like I don't plan it. It just comes that way. I don't know. Yeah.
So you know, it's really interesting what you're saying about like, the Catholic guilt playing a part in, you know, informing this kind of, you know, thing.
Like binary.
This binary thing that you have, where you've got the light Cecilia and the dark Cecilia. Is that something that, you know, you have some liberation in yourself because you found this sort of darker outlet, or is it something that you still struggle with?
I still struggle with it because a lot of my family will not understand, so I have to hide it. And things like this will kind of like really like, I mean, now it's like, oh, what were you saying there, you know?
Yeah. So, okay. So what is Sisters of Black Mountain about then? Like I
don't really know. I mean, I feel like I was saying, you know, I used it as a way to make cool music videos and like a faux soundtrack, because I don't, you know,
it's definitely that
soundtracky kind of like, you know, like I don't know, it's cinematic is I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I started that too in St. Cecilia. Like I started feeling like I wanted to write more cinematic stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's pop songs in there, kind of 60s style, but what is Sisters about? I don't know. It's kind of like a way of using like some of the occult stuff, putting like image. I don't really know what it's. I don't know. It's hard to explain the art, you know.
I think it's like, good to not explain it sometimes as well. But
the explanation is in the.
I mean, it seems like very much like a tool, like
it's a freedom kind of.
It's freedom, like a tool for freedom or something, like where you can escape,
to not feel oppressed. To just like feel like it's kind of what started making me like have the energy for like being more open. But yeah, it was a way to like.
It's like a way to find freedom.
Yeah. Like I have a song to Lilith and like, you know, and
because a lot of that like Catholic mythology is sort of, you know, like Lucifer was, you know, it literally means the light.
The light,
and Lilith is like demonized because she was like, you know, independent and a powerful woman. And so in some sense, to me it seems like there's, you know, freedom there, and there's also like empowering, using that mythology in a more empowering way. It's something like Tori Amos does a lot.
Yeah, I love Tori. That's another influence I did not mention.
I do too. I absolutely love Tori Amos. Yeah. And she has, the Father Lucifer song where he's in love with the milkmaid, and it's just, and that original Sensuality song where she's like, you're not alone in your darkness, and that bit always just makes me cry every time, because it's like, she mentions these names and she says you're not alone in your darkness, because I feel like sometimes religion just tries to put the darkness in this other thing that's out here, and they don't, and you don't end up.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying that. Actually.
Yeah, you don't end up facing your own, things that you need to like work through yourself, or like accept in yourself or accept in him. I don't know, compassion like gets lost. And
it's not just religion either, it's just society as a whole, and
everyone's trying to scapegoat somebody else
through religion.
That is
people,
so true.
People deny the darkness in themselves.
Scapegoat of a family.
Yeah.
The black sheep, the scapegoat.
I mean I am too.
Yeah,
so it's
family dynamics.
Yeah.
So maybe that's like, I often think that it's like a way of freeing myself, like, or in a way.
Yeah, from being the scapegoat, the one that points out what the thing is, the one that shows a different perspective, the person that
And you made me think, because when you said like Lucifer the light, I do say that actually, and I say this is a different type of energy, a different type of love. Like, there is a lightness in there, but it's like,
I think it's so direct, like it's such a direct thing of going, that song in particular, like bringing love to that darkness, to that denied space. And I think that's super powerful.
Healing the denied space.
And you can, I don't know, I don't know, I love that song. I think that song is awesome.
Thank
you. It's so beautiful. But it's just like almost tender. Like it feels like a truly loving song, and I think that's a thing, it's like your experience is Catholic. My experience is Protestant. You can see it in the New Age community. You can see it in our political landscape. You can see it. You can see it everywhere. This kind of like denial of like, the dark parts of ourselves, or the shadow, the introspection, there's the way we talk about emotions being good emotions and bad emotions, raising people to not cry,
to not look at anything that's unpleasant,
to not appear unpleasant,
to not
express like
feelings.
To have like the idea of like civilized and uncivilized or whatever, so it's like, I think it's just really cool that you've done something like that's like so split that you've just kind of gone, right, this is the space that needs exploration. But that song in particular, it's like it needs love, and I think that's I love
that. And it's really true. Like we have this thing where we just condemn the uncivilized parts of human nature as evil. For example, like, outbursts, of emotion, or or sexuality, or like whatever it is. This is like the evil part, and that's just not an evil part. It's a part that needs love and tenderness and compassion and space to breathe, and space. And the more you repress it, the darker it gets. Of course,
no, it doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away. What you resist persists, and what you repress comes back.
Persist. You helped me. You helped me. Can I talk about your classes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So with the Reiki, I feel like you got some stuff moving for me. I actually, when I was taking your class, the student, whoever was doing that on me that you were teaching.
Yeah, the Reiki class.
I felt an electric shock in my body, and like my knee, like I don't know if you remember this, but I remember because I felt
it's really common with when you get a Reiki,
like an electric shock,
the twitches,
and it was like my leg moved. I remember, and I felt like it moved something in me, and then in your Hathor class, that I took the women's class that you had, that like just being part of that and like talking, I remember I hadn't really had therapy before. I think I had I hadn't had therapy before, so like just talking in your class and like being in a room with other women and stuff kind of like really helped me too. Like,
oh, that's so nice.
I feel like it started like it was during the time I was like putting out Entrance with the St. Cecilia record. So yeah, I really feel like it helped me. Just wanted to say thank you.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
That's so nice. Yeah. I mean, I think that we do just kind of, you know, live in a world where it's okay to just project blame a lot and that other people have the problem and, you know, scapegoat society, you know, as well, even in the political landscape where it's like scapegoat anyone that you can, like, you know, this person's different because of this, let's scapegoat them. You know,
other people,
like the other...
maybe it's like a utopian you know, attitude or whatever, but I think, you know, we're only susceptible to that kinds of like, you know,
scapegoating and blame,
like and like, you know, the hysteria of like blaming one group of people or whatever for, you know, I think we're only susceptible to that because we like repress who we are as like whole people, you know, which is why like
we decide what's okay for us to be and what's not okay.
Yeah. And
that not okay part still exists. It's just judged and suppressed.
Yeah. Which is why the art that explores the, you know,
the shadow stuff.
The shadow stuff is really important.
Liberating. Yeah. Liberating. And it brings healing and compassion. And
because you're coming at it from your perspective, you know, with your Catholic upbringing and stuff, and going, like, let's go into this like imagery, the imagery of like Lucifer, of, you know, the way you all like the way you all dress with the horns and stuff, and just with like
the sexy horns.
And the sexuality that's in that too, you know, in the kind of expression of that. I think that's just like, it's really cool, and it's just
and you do it with fun and love and joy.
It's really joyful. It's a really joyful
space that you create with it. When
it's really fun, you know. It's a really fun space. That's Do
you have fun with it yourself?
I do. I have fun
because I feel like that fun really just comes across.
Yeah.
And what would you say? Okay, so there's that aspect, and what would you say with the St. Cecilia aspect that you like? What are the themes of St. Cecilia
so the themes of St. Cecilia are heartbreak, longing. Maybe it doesn't come through in the lyrics because by the time I write something, it's kind of like already like healing or something. But being an outsider, like different, because, you know, I grew up with undiagnosed ADHD, and so I felt different than other people. Not just from like not being able to pay attention in school, but also like my peers. Like I was like an outsider kind of. And not until I was like in high school that I started like feeling more like myself and like figuring stuff out. But since I didn't know, I kind of just felt like there was something wrong with me for a long time. And, you know, that still creeps up like nowadays as an adult. But yeah, those are the themes, kind of like heartbreak and like, you know, I would flip it to a more positive, like a more positive message once I would write the songs. Yeah. Especially in Seahorse, super, super like flowery and positive, you know. Yeah. Like unifying, like all of us together, kind of like, you know, almost hippie, but not in the musical sense, but more in like the vibes, I guess. But yeah, St. Cecilia is kind of like, you know,
in that theme. Yeah, because it's like one thing that we always just explore with people is like what are the, you know, I think everyone's work tends to have themes that come up that repeat in different kinds of ways. you know, I don't know why that is, but it just seems to be a thing that, you know, there's like a, not just one, maybe there's a few, but what do you find there's an overlap with all of these projects where you do end up kind of exploring?
Internally, I feel like it's the main theme is freedom for me, like freedom, but even when I'm writing something positive, it might have been fueled by something, maybe like a feeling of like oppression, or like I had these like, and I hate bringing up negative things, but I had this reoccurring thing with females that would kind of betray me and like, I don't know, it's like negative, but it was just like a feeling that like I wasn't safe, you know? Trying to make friends that I always wanted like a girl band, and I still do. I'm still trying to always make that, but it doesn't always, like, everyone's not always on the same, you know.
Yeah.
Or maybe I was attracting something that I need to grow out of, you know, or heal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, still struggling with those things sometimes.
Yeah.
Also, when I was a kid, I felt like the thing was I felt ugly and like I wasn't cool or popular or something. And then as an adult, I feel like females can get jealous and stuff like that. So it was always a fight anyway, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I long for that, like, friends and, like, that are, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that supportive network and connection and community. I think it's something that, you know, there were, you know, when we lived in, you know, tribes and farms, like, you know, whatever, like, that we always had, like, these spaces of, you know, men's groups and women's groups. And I think there's something so replenishing, you know, that we can get from each other in those spaces. And I'm sure that exists as well, you know, within, you know, the gender diversity space as well. Like, you know, just having, you know, queer spaces and, you know, and these sorts of, these ways that we can connect as communities. Instead, we're all like living in our houses, kind of dislocated from each other. And, you know, there is just something that you can't put a price on, that actual feeling that you get from camaraderie of someone that is like, in that space with you and that kind of a comrade. So I mean, it's like, to me, this is cool, because even the fact that you've got, you know, sisters, you've had Saint Cecilia, you know, whatever you've done, it's always been about freedom and overcoming oppression, and also just like that camaraderie, like, and
the shadow and the light side of it, probably.
Like the shadow and the light, and how the shadow and the light play together.
Similar energy, or the same energy, but the dark side and the light side of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked about Sisters of Black Mountain. So do we want to give a shout out to the band members?
Yes.
And
so my current band members are Joey Welter.
Yay. Yay, Joey.
We just got like a new bass player, Leaf Bunting, but it used to be Leah. She was in it. She was one of the first members, like me and her. And what did I say? Leaf? Leaf is a new bass player. Harley. I don't know if I can say her real name on, so just Harley.
Okay.
New keyboardist. Olivia. She plays guitar. And then, I'm not leaving anyone out, right? No.
And you.
And me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, we had another... Joey.
Joey does a lot of the production as well. Cause
he's our drummer. He does the production. He'll record us, or Neil used to also record us sometimes too, and he would mix us, our old keyboard player. And Joey, he recorded all of the Saint Cecilia stuff, except for like a couple things I did with Joel Jerome. And he's recording pretty much everything, I think, except for one song we did called Ghost House. We did that with Eddie. But he basically records us and produces with me, and yeah.
Yeah. And so he is the kind of the band's official producer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And because the production is so good, like the songs are so, I mean, yeah, the production.
All of the mixes you've heard so far, except for Ghost House, were Neil, our old keyboardist.
Okay.
So we would record with Joey, and Neil would mix it.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So Amdusius was like the last one he did with us, and he did like he actually did like a lot of the like what do you call it? He just makes it, if we don't play like perfectly, like he makes it better.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Good.
no, he did a great job. But
Oh, nice. And then, okay, because there's just such a huge visual component to the band as well. I mean, everyone should check out these music videos. They're just incredible. Sisters of
I
Black
should
Mountain.
say the director for Crystal Raven was not me. I think it's come across that way because I'm always talking about how I got the idea for the video, but it was actually Simon Cardoza.
Yeah, you do credit it. It's
I
like
do credit it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to think that Anyway, and Spirit Board was Brett Baldridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a really cool video. Hopefully we can have more videos like that. It's just, it costs money, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys play a lot around town as well. Like, do you, have shows coming up and places where people can see you? Because your show in person is amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so we haven't confirmed the shows, but we might be playing at the Slipper Clutch in March 1st.
Okay, for anyone in LA.
Yeah. Maybe Footsie's. It hasn't been confirmed. Maybe Footsie's February 15th, but still have to confirm with everybody. So
Yeah. But,
What else do you have coming up?
recording, hopefully getting, since we have new members, like we're trying to get, so there's the playing, playing out, getting everybody together and and then hopefully recording some new songs that and some that have not, that we already play out, that are not new songs that we haven't recorded. So hopefully that stuff can happen in these few months.
Yeah. If you could put all your art together and summarize advice and messages that you would give other artists, messages that come through the art, or even just messages about being an artist, what would you say?
I would say, don't question it. If you're feeling it, if your gut tells you, you should go with your gut. Don't be too hard on yourself about the way, maybe you think you might look to people and stuff. Because I always struggled with that. I always struggle with, what are they going to think? And I know it comes from that background I told you, but what are they going to think? And just do it. You only have one life, so just do it.
Yeah.
I don't know what other kind of message I can send.
I mean, that is a pretty good message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not overthinking, and
I still overthink things, so I feel like a hypocrite saying but
sometimes
I have to take my own advice.
Yeah, sometimes the message you have for others is the message that you're giving yourself every day. That you have to give yourself every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's just I've just been such a fan of yours for such a long time, and
I'm a fan of you guys too.
Thanks. It's just so nice to talk with you and just find out, all of this extra information about you and where, things are coming from. I really highly recommend that everyone check out Sisters of Black Mountain, St. Cecilia.
Thank you so much. Thank you for making me feel comfortable too, both of you. I thought I was going to be super nervous.
Thanks for talking to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cecilia Enriquez. Thank you.
Roses floated on whispering